Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. You are joining us for now the second hour of our College Gridiron Showcase live stream. I have Mr. Mike Riddleman, Director of Scouting and Player Personnel. He's kind of the big guy right here.
Stop.
Stop. I'm going to get a lot of players on here over the next few minutes, which I know you want to hear a lot more from than Mike. Right, Mike? But
That's right.
Mike did a great job today. Not only assembling this roster over the last few months, but also the coach position group. So, Mike, I just want to hear your general thoughts about the first day impacts. We also had the free agent, combine showcase.
I mean, it's a mixture. You can go either way. Just a free agent showcase. I mean, a lot of them showed talent. We had about 6 or 7 D linemen in total for the free agent event, and I thought it went well. Small college, like you said, the pads were popping. It was awesome. A lot of these small college guys really showed their true talents today, and it was exciting to be out on the field.
And of course, you coached part of the defensive line group today, which I apologized to a wide receiver earlier and a cornerback also because I wasn't down with the wide receivers and corners that much because I felt like a lot of great action happened O-line, D-line. Can you talk to me a little bit about today we got a lot of one-on-ones, pass rush, we got inside run, we got some goal line stuff happening. Just your general thoughts as part of the position group and the competition they saw with the offensive line.
There was a lot of talent up front. I will say that. I mean, the offensive line really, I was impressed with the size, the athleticism coming off the ball. Defensive line, a lot of those guys a little bit undersized, but the explosion, that first step explosion coming off the ball, really impressed with that. Our the edge group really impressed me. Defensive ends, edge type players,
and some length.
They length, and a lot of guys I can see can maybe make the transition to line. So with some time coaching.
And what's it like now? Just kind of, I know we're still early in the week, right? Like Desperados and Wranglers are just reporting today.
Right.
But to see what you, a part of this staff, have put together, the amount of talent, and kind of see it firsthand now, just how rewarding is that, and how excited are you for the rest of the week?
Well, it's a group effort. You're a part of this. Jose and Craig have done a phenomenal job building up the showcase, and it's awesome to actually take a step back and actually look at it and say, "Wow, this is what we've been doing since late August." And talking to coaches, talking to agents, talking to players, and now it's all come to fruition for this next couple of days. It's awesome, and I think the NFL teams, the CFL teams, the XFL, USFL, the indoor leagues that are here, I think they're going to be quite impressed with the roster we've set.
For sure. And speaking solely about the Marshals now for a second, what we saw today. Obviously, we saw a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of wide receiver, defensive back one-on-ones. We saw O-line, D-line one-on-ones, because that's really when we're talking about scouting. We want to see individuals, right? We want to see them working in one-on-one matchup. What does tomorrow bring for us having this scrimmage now? What part of that evaluation are you saying?
Well, you know what? It comes into fruition of, the NFL and CFL teams are going to tell us who are the 10 to 15 players that move up to our main showcase. This is going to be live game action, controlled scrimmage. They hold up a card offensively, defensively, put it on front, odd front, mix in, 4-2-5, whatever. I mean, we're mixing it up a little bit, but it's back to basics, and that's how we come in, and the evaluation game starts. So I'm excited about it, and it's another day on the floor.
Absolutely. So again, joined by Mike Riddleman, Director of Player Personnel and Scouting here for the College Gridiron Showcase. Mike, appreciate you. Go have a nice dinner.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're the man. Appreciate you, man. I think I'm going to bring on Arthur Anderson next.
Hey,
He's coming on.
Man.
All right, so if you don't know much about Mr. Anderson, I've gotten to know a couple times now, not only meeting him down here in Fort Worth, but he was also part of the roster reveal show we had a few days before the event. He is a wide receiver out of Concordia. So, Arthur, just take me through your experience so far. I know it's been a lot. Getting on the field today had to be a lot of fun after not experiencing it for a little bit there, but also we're talking about, the ability to meet some scouts, which is awesome, doing a DEXA scan, height, weight, all that good stuff. What's just been the general experience so far?
It's been good overall. Meeting a lot of guys, a lot of players. I noticed a lot of people here train together. against each other and stuff like that. But it's just good to get that contact in. There's a lot of good competition. So today was the first day of pass. Obviously, a lot of scouts out there. You know, we got a good, decent amount of reps for as many people that was out there. We did get some quality reps. Just overall good experience.
It's awesome. And the day today specifically, I know wide receivers love one-on-ones, man, because that is
That's what we make our money at.
it is. And then those drills specifically, like, let's be honest, it's a little tilted towards wide receiver success. Let's be honest about it. How do you feel like you did in those one-on-one situations?
Good. I think I did very good to the advantage of the reps that I got about 5 reps. Away winning majority of those, so I think I took advantage of those.
And then what else did you guys do? I would imagine some 7-on-7.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. 7-on-7, like a full field from the 41 line. And then we also did some red zone 7-on-7. So it was all good. It was all good. A lot of moving around different positions, outside, just sliding, learning on the fly because we was reading off the paper. So yeah. It was good.
I know we have some talented quarterbacks out there. Owen Burke, Winona State. We have Mike Boudry from Idaho, who's a big dude. Tuckville Fields, Stony Brook, and we have Dylan Sterling Cole from Midwestern State. If anybody remembers that name, he's actually an Arizona State guy originally. I know it's a little tough on the first day, trying to get chemistry with a couple different quarterbacks. What did you see maybe from the guys that were throwing it?
I think most of my reps came with the guy from Stony Brook and Midwestern State.
Okay.
They were both pretty solid. As you said, we don't have that chemistry and stuff like that, but from not ever taking reps together, I feel like we were pretty much on the same page, and there was some good balls coming my way in one-on-ones and together. So.
And I like to think that we put together a really good roster on both sides of the ball. What would speak to me about maybe some of the defensive backs you saw today? Did we hit it out of the park in that group?
Pretty good group. It was very physical. You know what I'm saying? It took you had to really get your technique right. Good releases off the line and stuff like that. Fight the hands because they were getting physical. And everybody was playing man-to-man press. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's in your face. So it was good competition for sure.
So a two-layer question for you. Obviously, you were in front of a lot of evaluators, both from the NFL, CFL, USFL, XFL. What are things that you want to get across to them this week, not only as a player, but also as a person? Like, what do you want to leave? And then remember Arthur Anderson.
So as a player, I just want them to see that I have that drive and that sense of urgency to be able to do anything on the field, and that I'm an athlete at the end of the day. Like, yes, I am here as a receiver, but at the end of the day, I'm an athlete, and I do take pride in my athleticism. So there's nothing else I want them to do. I'm a hard-working athlete and a genuine guy also.
All right, so that was Mr. Arthur Anderson, Concordia wide receiver. Looking forward to seeing him in a real game situation. I'm now going to bring on a guy that I think he was the first video that I posted today on Twitter, Mr. Dan Luba. I believe this is pronounced that correctly. Out of Lenore-Ryan. If Lenore-Ryan sounds familiar, of course, Kyle Duggar came out a few years ago, a couple years ago now. Derek Young is a very talented wide receiver. I want to start you off with this, man. Talented team that you've had over the last couple years at Lenore-Ryan. What is kind of the culture around that program to be able to continue to churn out next level talent?
Really, honestly, like we don't really treat ourselves like a Division II. We treat ourselves like those big school guys and everything. So we're getting prepared as if we're trying to make it to the next level. So the transition from LR to the league isn't too different from someone maybe going to like one of the bigger schools. So we have the premier weight room. Our athletic training staff is good, great coaching, great community that like supports us and that wants to see us do great. So it's a smooth transition. Trying to play at that next level.
And seeing Kyle on the defensive side, obviously, he's playing safety, he's playing on the back end, you're playing in the front there, but kind of seeing him, his trajectory as a prospect and seeing how he went through it and maybe even getting some pointers from how big is that as him as a role model, seeing how it's done to get to the next level.
Playing with him, I was able to play with him for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was able to just see his mannerism, his like stuff that he did to like get ready for the next level. See how serious he took everything and he just basically laid the framework for it.
Yeah. So. And I thought you did a great job today, especially in the one-on-ones. I feel like you gave people a lot of problems with your quickness and just the natural leverage that you have. How do you feel like you did as a whole during your during the evaluation portion today?
I think I did pretty good. I went out there and put my best foot forward, try my best. And all I can do is hope that it was enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's it like? I know you just heard me talking to Arthur a little bit, but being able to put your best foot forward, be in front of so many leagues, next level evaluators, I have to feel like this is kind of a surreal moment to a degree, but also I'm sure it's kind of like a business trip for you.
Honestly, like I'm just here, I'm having fun, like playing football, like I'm just having fun. Because at first I used to like try and probably make it like a bigger deal than what it was. But then like once I realized I was just having fun and I've been playing football for so long, so it's like it's no different. Like, just being able to play out here and strap up one more time and showcase my ability in front of those scouts.
So describe yourself as a football player, at least stylistically. When you at Lenore-Ryan, were you even front, odd front, three tech? What's your style?
So I've played 3 tech. But I feel like I can play anywhere. On the line, I've played nose as well. But I describe myself as a 3 tech force. That if you don't take me seriously, then you won't get the ball off. I will be making the play. So I just feel like me as a player, like I demand attention. So that's just me.
Love it, man. And I know. As a former defensive linebacker, right? Like I knew how much it's fun to like kind of push the pass and to be able to be in those little ones. But what's it gonna be like tomorrow? Scrimmage, live action, game simulation, finally be back in what kind of feels almost like a game.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be exciting. Like being able to take on double teams and really being able to showcase like my ability playing in a real game. Because one-on-ones is good and team run is also good, but like in a real game situation, like, that's when you're able to showcase, like, I can really play. And I just want to go out there and put my best foot forward and dominate.
And I asked you a little bit about just the week in general, but is there any part of it that's like you were kind of like, wow, that's something I wasn't expecting? Like I keep watching the Nexus scan stuff, and I'm just like, it's mind blowing every single time,
Like being on the table outside, I was just like and that machine moving over you, and I was just like,
it's like you're getting a scan, right? Like it's not, you are literally getting a scan, but I mean, like it's like you're like getting tested to see if you had some damage in your body.
It was actually pretty crazy. I was just like, like I had to hold my hand tight, tight to my body and everything. Like it was just actually wild, like being able to experience that because, like you said earlier, you said not every bowl game gets to do that, and NFL teams look at that, and just having the opportunity to do that is like phenomenal.
Yeah. And I ask this one all the time. I honestly get bored with it for interior defensive linemen. It's always the same player. But is there a guy that you model your game after? The answer is always Aaron Donald. If you want to throw somebody else out there, you're welcome.
No, I wasn't even gonna say.
All right.
Look, Aaron Donald's a great player. You know what I'm saying? Like phenomenal player.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like I kind of see myself as like more like a dominant suit. Like,
okay.
Just how like powerful he was and disruptive.
I love that. That's awesome. And kind of looking forward to the end of this week, what are some goals that you have in hand? It could be improving yourself as a player tomorrow. It could be improving yourself as a person to scouts. Like, what are some things that you want to leave here?
Definitely. Like right now, I'm in a small school showcase, so I definitely want to be moving up to the big showcase so I can keep on showing myself that I'm worth being in front of scouts and everything. Just being able to just know that like I can play with things, and me coming from a small school is not going to hinder me in what I'm trying to do.
So would you say that hunger inside of you, would you say that that's more, you're just excited for the opportunity, or do you feel like there's a chip on your shoulder proving you belong?
I feel like it's more of a chip on my shoulder. I feel like I could always play with the best, and this is just right now just a stepping stone so I can showcase that, and just being in front of scouts is a plus.
Absolutely. Last thing I want to leave you with, I want to give you the opportunity. It could be 30 seconds, shout outs, social media handles. What's something that you want to leave the viewers with?
Well, what I want to leave the viewers with is that regardless of where you come from, there's always a way that you can make it, and being at these like showcase and being able to show everybody that you do belong is something that like you'll never forget. And I like to shout out for my family. I like to shout out my friends for the support, my school for the support of North Ryan. Happy birthday to my mom.
Oh, birthday! Nice.
Yeah, wishes. So I'm out here in Texas instead of being there for her birthday, but she understands. And I called her earlier to see what she was doing. So we're all good.
Long term, you'll give her a better present.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, Dan Luba here, defensive lineman, out of North Ryan. Appreciate it, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Thank you for dropping in. Appreciate it. All right. Great conversations there. We might have somebody else ready. Ready? Covered? All right. You got Vance Barnes, running back / wide receiver out of Northern State, hopping in. Vance, how are you, brother? Good, man. Good. How was the day so far? Kind of looking back on it.
Yeah, it was smooth. It was nice. I actually learned a lot. I had a financial income and talk to us. Football is so it's fun. I'm out there talking to a couple guys. I'm like, man, I haven't done this since November. And you forget how fun the game is. And just been combine training and stuff. Put the pads on a little bit. Run some routes. It's fun.
Yeah. And I know that you're a guy that did a lot of different things at your school, right? And so during today's practice, I admittedly did not see as much of the skill as I would want to today. Were you getting reps at running back and receiver, or were you sticking mostly at receiver today?
So I was at running back, and then I went to receiver, the one-on-one, the skelly portion. Just kind of show how versatile I am.
Love it. And take us through a little bit into your career. I know we had you on the reveal show a few days ago, but I would love to hear if you could just fill in the first-time viewers with us, just a little bit about yourself and how you've gotten to this.
I've just been a hard worker my whole career. Previously went to Minnesota State Mankato University, D2 powerhouse.
You guys had a lot of talent coming out of there, by the way. Braden Thomas, you got the corner, Tyshawn Brooks, who's a really talented punt returner as well as being a defensive back. A lot of talent coming out of there, man.
We were all teammates, and I mean there's no shock in that. We got Shane Zostra in the NFL right now with the Lions, and I mean that was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot. Like I said, all of us are around the same class, so push each other every day.
It's a zebra, right?
It was more of a 12 personnel downhill football team, so I transferred out. Just kind of wanted a big role in the offense, 2019, I went to the University of Wisconsin lacrosse and it was a grad transfer program where I couldn't play. Who knew you could grad transfer and go down a level? Lacrosse didn't. Nobody really knew until like the middle of camp. So then I went to Northern and I worked out for the better. Got to play better positions. Set the school record returns.
So give us your guys. Who are some players without a gain athlete? You being a versatile player that can do things in the return game, in the passing game, and as a runner, who are some of your favorite players?
So I watched a lot of Tyreek Hill. Growing up, I played running back my whole life, so nice transition to receiver. I watched off the field stuff, not so much, but I watched a ton of it. Just the way he runs routes and gets open from the outside. But yeah, Tyreek Hill for around the same stature. And now just like I love watching Cooper Cup. I love watching Cooper Cup do his thing in the slot. And then I think my game resembles Debo Samuel. Plus the speed, but I think Debo Samuel. I see myself.
How is the chemistry between your teammates? I know, especially at wide receiver, right? When we're talking about the chemistry between quarterbacks and receivers, obviously it takes a lot of time. How has just kind of been the adjustment being around a bunch of new guys and kind of building that chemistry as a team?
It's been nice. It's a small world. You realize how small the world is. You start talking to people and you're like, oh, you know him? Oh, you played against him? Oh, yeah. So that was cool. On the field stuff, day one, there's always going to be some struggles. You don't know your quarterback, where he's going to put the ball. They don't know how we like to run routes. But, you make do with what you got. You still continue to build chemistry. Guys
and how surreal is it to just know that, like, you're just around so many people that are going to make the evaluators, multiple leagues, not just the NFL, we're talking CFL, we're talking USFL, XFL. What's it like to just be around so many people that could potentially take you to the next level? It's got to feel like, I don't know if it's a full circle type of thing, but like, obviously it's a big goal.
I think it's cool. It's talking to some guys I train with, a bunch of guys I train with, like Treehouse, Minnesota. We talk about all the time. It's like, man, it's crazy because this is what we always train. Being in this position, getting ready for your pro day, getting ready for the draft, being around pros like this. We are pros. That's how you got to think about it. Just being, especially some local school guys, like far away, but right there. And that's what I think is the most important part. Every day I go to training. So I'm really training to go to the NFL. That's crazy. So, definitely surreal.
Yeah. So what are some goals that you have for the rest of the week? Obviously, we have the scrimmage tomorrow. You're going to be meeting with some teams. You're going to be doing a lot of seminars and trying to figure out. You already mentioned like financial advising a little bit, which is an awesome thing that you haven't gotten to experience. For you, just kind of looking forward to the rest of the week. What are some things, some goals that you have?
I think my goal is just to really move the needle. Whether it's getting invited to the national showcase or not, I think my goal is to walk out of here and I wrote down in my notes just if you can have move the needle to have one team fall in love with you or start that process of it. I think that's it. And for me personally on the field, my goal is just to show off the speed. Every route I ran that's my strong suit. That's being a footballer. Like I said, ultimately just move the needle and one guy can write down, hey, there's a prospect out of Northern State, we got to watch his film. I did my job here.
And I guess my last thing, I'm going to present you an opportunity. I've done with most of the guys so far. Shout outs, social media handles. What are something that you want to leave the gamers with?
You can go follow me on basically all my social media. Vance Barnes _4. I also have a podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Vance Barnes Pod. So go check that out. Really just a hard worker, personal growth type of guy. What you see is what you get. Not too much, not too little, but just right.
Love it, man. I'm excited to see you, obviously, in more of a game setting tomorrow. Vance Barnes, running back, receiver, returner, playmaker. Just call you that. Northern State. Athlete. Love it, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right. Appreciate Vance for popping on with us. We may have some more guys coming up in a second. I want to kind of go through some of the actions to the day so far. So, because we're talking about our small school showcase, which is the Marshall's group. So maybe we'll go position by position until I get another guest who wants to pop in. So I think notable names for starting a quarterback. Of course, we have Owen Burke from Winona State, Mike Bowdry from Idaho, who I believe started his career at West Florida, transitioned to UConn, if I remember correctly, and now he is at Idaho, finished his career in Idaho. We also have Stony Brooks, Tycho Fields, and Dylan Sterling Cole, Midwestern State, but the former Arizona State transfer, was a high recruit. For me, quarterbacks on the first day is always a little bit of a mixed bag just because you're talking about guys that are trying to get chemistry with the pass catchers around them. And it's not always an easy thing. I'm to be very honest with you. But I think for the most part, what I was really impressed with just on the first day is that I felt like they made very good decisions on a snap basis. I didn't see any, and of course, there's always going to be some error throws, but I didn't see a ton of just terrible decisions. So quarterbacks, I want to see them in more of a game setting tomorrow with obviously the scrimmage situation. So I want to take a look at them. Easy throwers, though. I think Mike Bowdry, especially out of Idaho, is a big, strong quarterback. Both flies out of his hand. Owen Burke impressed me a little bit. I thought his accuracy was nice. Tycho Fields, very good athlete. I want to keep seeing him a little bit more on the field. And then Dylan Sterling Cole. Obviously, he is a talented kid. That's what got him originally to Arizona State. So excited about the quarterback room. Running backs, two guys that really impressed me. Two guys that I hopped on. One was J.D. Woods from Baker. He's a smaller back, but he did some things both as a receiver in the slot and as a running back today. I thought he actually moved out pretty well when we were talking about the goal line situations, which is surprising for a guy's size. But Robert Washington, first time really seeing the Valparaiso product. He is listed around, I think he's like 5'9" and some change, 219 pounds. So he's had that. He has a nice frame to work with. He's a physical downhill runner. And he looked good. He looked really good. He looked cat quick, running some inside zone, especially in the inside run drills. I think he really showed a nice patience to him, too. A lot of people, I think, kind of have a misconception that when you're running inside zone, it's always going to hit front side. But most of the time, it's backside A to B. So I think Robert Washington really took advantage of that. Tight ends, wide receivers is a to be determined for me. Hopefully, I can get some guys on here to talk more about their days, but I did not spend a ton of time around the wide receiver units or skill position besides the running backs working with, obviously, the inside run with offensive line. I think that the running backs, again, those guys popped out, but I haven't watched enough of the wide receivers. I will say there's one guy that I heard from multiple people that kind of impressed them for the wide receiver unit. That was Cody Gustafson from Grove City College. It was a small school, but he is very productive, to say the least. He had over 1,400 yards this past year and 90-something receptions. I think he had like 18 touchdowns, some crazy number like that. So, talented player. I think that he impressed me a little bit today. Moving over to the offensive line, I will be very honest about this, 100%. I thought this was the strongest line, to be honest, for everything that I saw, at least when I'm talking offensive line versus defensive line, and some of the skill that I was able to see. Some of the standouts, Josh Sokol from Sacred Heart, who's a center by trade. I thought he really showed a great anchor in the one-on-one pass blocking drills. Framed really well, stayed patient. I think he did a lot of great things, to say the least. A couple of the offensive tackles I thought impressed a little bit. Jake Dixon out of Kane, who was a tight end, so the tight end offensive tackle transformation is really intriguing, obviously, for the athletic traits of everything. Apparently, he was a standout volleyball player. I don't know if that really goes into the evaluation much, but looked very good in pass protection. I think, obviously, he needs to continue to add room to his frame. There's a lot to like about a guy like that. Travis Alvarez, who State University, was a guy that really was on basically every rep in pass protection. He did get injured at one point, but he did not stall his effort to get back onto the field. He did eventually return. A guy that I think has the opportunity to move up to the lead showcase if he has a strong day too. Jordan Agafosi, I believe is how you pronounce it. My apologies, Jordan, if you're listening. Grambling State, big guy, physical offensive guard. I really thought his anchor and strong hands was on full display today. So I'm excited about him. And one guy that I thought really did improve a lot during the day was Jared Aiken from Winston-Salem State. He is, I believe, the biggest guy on the Spencer roster, and he did a nice work. late in the practice. I'll be very honest. Those reps were a little rough. It looked like he had to shake off a little bit of the rust, but he is a guy that got better and better. He is a guy that got better and better each and every rep. So excited about him. And I'm going to bring on now tight ends. First tight ends of the show, Kevin Ventura, Cortez out of Concordia, St. Paul. We had him on the roster reveal show if he looks familiar. Kevin, how's it been?
It's been phenomenal. It's been a really good experience so far. It's really interesting because I've never been part of an all-star game, so it's really intriguing, really cool to meet new people from different backgrounds, different schools, different conferences. And like Vance was saying, it is a small world. There's some guys that I play with here, some guys that I've went up against. So it's been really cool.
Is it I don't know if weird is the right word, right? But like you just came out of a situation, obviously, where you're multi-years on the same program. You hadn't been a freshman in a long time, and kind of being around so many new people. What was kind of just that ability to meet a bunch of new people and then to acclimate to the new surroundings?
Right, like you're saying, it's similar to here. It's just in the approach and the mindset you take wherever you go. You're here for a business trip at the end of the day, but you're also here to meet new people, network, not just in the football realm, but like you're meeting new people that are outside of football, networking with people. There was someone that in our seminars was suggesting that 20 years, 30 years from now, you're going to be networking with some of these guys. It could be in the coaching world, it could be in the business world. And it was just cool to see because, like you said, I've never been a freshman around a program for 4 years. So I've bounced around from JUCO to 4 years. So, it's a similar approach. It's just a mindset you take and you open up, people will open arms. And it is what it is.
I love it, man. I love it. And is there anything that's taking you a little by surprise this week? I know it's a hectic schedule, but like, is there something stand out that's like, wow, this is legit right now?
I think just the talent. The talent that's in this room, I would say, just like different sizes, but the punch that comes with those sizes. You can see some guys be like, oh, I'm bigger, or he's bigger, but there's guys that are small here that will just punch in the mouth if you don't see it. So, I think that's the biggest take on just on the on-field experience that I've had is you meet some personalities and different people, and you're like, oh, this seems like a really cool dude I want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's going to tear your head off, and the next thing you put on the field, he's like, okay, if you're coming like that, then I got to step up my game too.
That's awesome. And I know when we talked on the reveal show, you mentioned, you wish that your volume was maybe a little higher at Concordia St. Paul. Doing the one-on-ones today, doing, the 7-on-7, obviously a lot of time to run routes. What was it like just being kind of highlighted in that side of your game?
Right. I think I took my game up a little bit. I think it took me a little bit to get downed up and get the wheels turning a little bit just on the one-on-ones. Just like Vance was saying, I heard him a little earlier, there's no chemistry with the quarterback just yet, so you don't know what to expect. And you don't know the guy you're going up against, you don't have a week to prepare and scout their tendencies. So it's just one raw, been a couple weeks out, and then just giving it all you got. And they're giving it all they got. So I think there's a significant difference for me personally from one-on-ones to a team setting, just because there's more responsibility in a team, and I know there's hidden zones and spots that I can target and get myself open. I think I stood myself apart in the team scenarios more so than I did in the beginning of the competition.
Gotcha. How excited are you now to the ability to play in that scrimmage tomorrow, to be fully in that team setting?
Right, that's what I'm actually more amped up about. You reflect throughout the day, you're like, what I do right, what I do wrong. Things you can work on, coaching points. I did get a couple coaching points today. And it's like, what, I've done this for so long. I've been at different levels. I've gone against different sizes, dudes, personalities, and it's just now in a team scenario, in a team environment, it's more like, okay, let's go get it. Because you know what's your job, you know what's your responsibility, and you know what kind of defense you're going up against is presented in front of you. So I think that's where my game is going to have a different edge for me personally.
And speaking about your time this past season at Concordia St. Paul, how many scouts did you guys see through visits? And what's it like kind of now being thrust into so many different leagues, so many different scouts? That type of situation?
I'm not familiar with the name Chris Garrett, but
I am familiar with the name Chris Garrett. I interviewed him last year.
Oh, really?
I know Chris, yep.
Yeah, so as you can see, he was the spotlight of our program.
Yes.
And just off the field, he's actually one of my close friends. And my brother, when I first came in, I got really close with him. And he's a man of God, so just amazing person. And I know the whole process for him is no different than my route. But I think just the scouts and the way he went about it and how he handled his business, he kind of like instilled some advice in how to go about it. So, like you said, at Concordia, small program, we didn't do so great this season. A lot of injuries, a lot of changes, just like anybody else. So, not really much scout attention rather than just coming here and having everything that you want. It's just like, oh, this is the real deal. Right? You're not used to this. This is what people talk about. This is what people are are living for. And I'm just, like I said, I'm blessed and I'm grateful because it's a stepping stone. It's the next step. It's reality, no matter what. So I know that if I'm here, it's for a reason. I'm blessed. And whatever's meant to come my way, I'm open arms.
Absolutely. And from a player perspective, from a person perspective, obviously that's a big layer to go to meet these evaluators, to sell yourself as a person and a player. What are some things that you want to prove about yourself this week, both as a football player and also as a person?
Right. As I was telling you in the reveal show, it's more, I want to prove that I belong here. I want to prove that I'm worth the opportunity of risk, and just being a small school guy, there's a lot of risk behind me. But there's also potential. I would say there's a lot of raw potential. And, I can just develop to the player that people want me to be here. I know what I bring to the table, but just like everybody else, there's strengths and weaknesses. So I think the one thing about me is that I am coachable within life and within the football field. So I think off the field, you're getting a person who's working hard at what he does and is devoted and committed and just brings passion. I think that's me, just passionate about, energy levels on the field, energy levels off the field, and that exchange with people, I think it comes a long way. I may not know you down the street, you may not know who you are, but if I give you a hey, high positive day going, it could change someone's life. So you just never know.
Absolutely. And next question I have for you is stylistically, how would you describe yourself as a player? And maybe on a second layer to that, are there some players that you model your game after?
Right. Man, I don't think I have a specific style, I would say, honestly. I think I have a lot to learn still just because of the programs I've been at. I've been taught different things. I've been taught different techniques, different, tools in the toolbox. I don't think I have a particular style set that I would model myself for, but I think I'm just different. As an acclimated to programs, to schools, they use me. I'm more of a situational guy, mismatch. So that's where I've typically been used as, where I see myself in the future. It's like you can line up in the backfield against a linebacker, or you can line up in the slot against a smaller safety. Just it all depends. And then I think some guys I would like to model myself after. And I do like a Darren Waller type of guy, just special. He started off as special teams, converted receiver to tight end. So I kind of like that aspect because I did go to community college and I only had 1 year of varsity football under my belt prior to going that, and I played as a true freshman. And I ended up just, being acclimated and playing with a big grown man and playing wide receiver for a little bit. So that's where my style came in, as being a big receiver and being able to move from society a little bit more. So, I like Darren Waller, but I definitely love to watch George Kittle just because of the blocking game and receiving game. And just overall, he's a dog. Like, people don't acknowledge the blocking game as much, but it's there. Like, I love to study his film, and I love to see his techniques and what advice he has. And I don't think you can deny the stuff that he's done. Coming out of Iowa.
Yeah. And let me ask about that JUCO background a little bit, because I've spoken to a lot of guys. The one that really pops in my head a few years ago was Darwin Thompson, that came out of Utah State, coached Kansas City Chiefs, and he talked to me about the JUCO route, and really it separates people a lot. There's some people that just don't have it in them; they don't have that dog, right? What did that stop do for you as far as like that inner fire?
I think it made me learn about myself more. This is something I wanted to do because, like you said, some people are fortunate enough to be, live in the area, go to community college, find themselves, see if it's for them or not. Some people come from out of state. I'm from California, so people who come to community college in California, typically there's no scholarship. You're rooming with 9, 10 guys. You're working at McDonald's or something like that, and you're scrapping for food and scrapping for playing time. You're there for a reason. It's not getting twisted. You're there for a reason. And sure, those guys have a chip on their shoulder, so they're bringing the juice, bringing the energy, and they want to be the 5-star recruits that they want. So I think, like he was saying, you either have it or you don't. It's a mental game, and it's also a physical game. It's like how committed and willing you grind. Outside of practice, outside of, your schoolwork, you still got to be a student. A lot of guys who went JUCO are there for many reasons. Don't have the money. They mess up their opportunities, their grades, et cetera, et cetera. So I think if you make it out of the mud, is what they say. You make it out the mud, you make it out the mud, and I'm proud because, like for my personal situation, I had 1 year of varsity in my belt, and that was a defensive player starting at free safety position.
Wow, that's a transition.
That's a transition out of a wing T offense.
Oh,
so I have been learning along the way, and I think I've come a long way.
You've had quite the journey then up to this point. Yeah. So I guess to end that, if you want to take a few seconds here, shout outs, say hi to the folks, whatever, social media handles, the floor is yours.
Hi, Mom. I love you. all my people back home. I love you guys, and I appreciate all the support people are giving me and giving me shout outs and just believing in me to get this far. You know, like Vance was saying, what we learned is the common theme. You just got to move the needle. So you just get one person interested. And, you know, the tight ends here, I'm giving them a shout out because they're grinding, they're balling. We're doing the run game and the pass game. So shout out to those guys. And if anybody wants to give me a follow, I have a KK477 on Instagram and KB477 on Twitter. So hopefully we're here to stay. Hopefully we hear from you guys soon in March or something.
Absolutely. Kevin Ventura Cortez, tight end out of Concordia, St. Paul. Appreciate you, brother. Good luck tomorrow. I'll see you. All right. All right, we got another man coming up here. We're going to continue with the pass catchers here. Our Mr. Akil Greer is going to join us now, who is a wide receiver out of St. Augustine. Sir, how are you?
Doing great. Blessed to be here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. How was the day? Not bad?
Not bad at all. It's very competitive, highly competitive, a lot of energy.
Yeah. Was it everything you expected, or was there anything that took you off guard today?
Everything I expected.
Everything you expected? Okay. I know there's a lot of talent out there. I think that we did a really good job, obviously, assembling the roster. What did you feel about just kind of all the talent in general and being able to test yourself against some other great players?
Honestly, it was truly an honor to play with multiple guys from schools you've never heard of or all divisions. It was just great to go out there and compete. Everybody's here for the same reason. And make connections, friendships, and less than that.
And I know, obviously, you're a little bit of a longer wide receiver. I know the yards per catch are very high for a player like yourself. But describe yourself for the people that haven't seen you play yet. The NFL draftings out there that are starting to get you on the radar. What type of player are you?
I'm a very versatile player. I can play outside, it's my comfort zone. I can play inside. You need me to put my hand in the
This
dirt
kid
to
is
play as a
seventh
tight end.
grade.
You don't mind blocking, just a team
He has a
first
sister.
guy. Willing to sacrifice my body, lay it all on the line just to make sure ensure the kids.
These days, the one that we just had with a lot of one-on-one, 7-on-7, that's got to be a wide receiver's favorite, right? Be able to run so many routes. What was kind of just because I feel like you guys were just getting a ton of reps, getting a lot of opportunities. And I'm sure it had to be really fulfilling and blessing and just getting back on the field.
It was very, very competitive. You had a lot of guys out there.
It's not
A lot of receivers, a lot of these guys. Basically, everybody was just ready to go. It was just like this, man. So we lost.
He's very straight.
Get back up.
He knows every single guy.
It really was just very, very
He
challenging.
knows every single
And I love the formats, kind of like OTAs, because ultimately, if
He does a lot
what
of
we want to
rushing
go to is the NFL, this is ultimately what we would be doing.
Yeah.
And this would ensure
Great
that
Christian
we
guy.
have a job, get to even stay
I just saw you
with
throw
the
that
team.
out.
So I feel like they kind of gave us a head start on what is to
That's
come.
cool.
What would have been the other layers? I know someone talked to me obviously about the financial advising side of everything. The DEXA scan I know is pretty wild. The measurements, the talking to scouts. Like, what is just some other layers of the week been like for you?
It's very, very, very learned a lot. I feel like coming here really enhanced my knowledge for the game and learned a lot of details of what NFL players go through in this process. A lot of things I didn't know prior to coming here. And just by going to meetings and doing seminars, what's to come, I feel like all my knowledge for the game has been enhanced. And I feel like I know way more. And I know my team corners to their team. So I know what's to
Right. And I guess the question I would have is, I know it is tough sometimes on the first day, not only for wide receivers, but also for quarterbacks. You're trying to get that timing. What was it like maybe developing that timing throughout the day and kind of, working that chemistry with some new guys?
ultimately, like I said, ultimately, everybody here, no one knows anybody.
Right.
And when you get with a team, it's going to be a bunch of guys who've never seen each other before, never met each other before, all fighting for a roster spot.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is like the same thing. Like we're all fighting to be moved up to be with the bigger group.
Sure.
So none of us know each other. So I feel like you just have to compete at your highest level and just hope that the quarterback can match your level. You can match the quarterback. The level can play. Ultimately, no matter if you develop chemistry or not, you still got to make plays. If you don't make plays, obviously you just won't up. I just feel like everybody was on the A game. On their A game. And I feel like it was a great game.
Yeah. And I know I asked you obviously a little bit about your flight style for this type of stuff. Take me through your career a little bit. I don't know too much about St. Augustine's, to be very honest with you. So can you just paint a picture of like some of your favorite accomplishments while you were in college?
Yes, sir. I actually went to three colleges. I started out at State University, and then I ended up leaving. I went to Kahoma Community College in Mississippi to get recruited. Went there, did my thing, got re-recruited in St. Augustine. One place that just felt it gave me another opportunity to chase my dreams. And I got there, it gave me a chance to showcase my talents. Ended up leading my team, receiving both years. It's just truly a blessing to be in this position, considering the fact that I haven't had many people make it from that school. And I just want to be one of the choice.
Sure. And just to put it out there, you are open to whether it's NFL, XFL, USFL, any opportunity to come to play. Awesome.
Just to be blessed to still be playing.
I've yet to figure it out. I mean, I haven't had to try.
So I want to give you an opportunity. People you want to thank, shout out, social media, like whatever you want to do, Dan.
First and foremost,
She basically works with the fathers and 15% achieving kids.
Hey, man.
I'd like to thank St. Augustine for giving me a chance to even represent the school on this platform.
Wishing you the best of luck the rest of the week, especially tomorrow. I'll be out there, obviously. So, Cale Greer, wide receiver. See you tomorrow, brother. Thank you. All right, man. So I was actually talking wide receivers a little bit before I had Kevin Ventura Cortez and Akil Greer popping on. So very good timing to get a couple pass catchers on. Fantastic conversation there with Akil as well. Love some of the backgrounds we have here as well. Just kind of looking at some of the stories we've been able to highlight this week. Great stuff. Defensive line I want to move to a little bit, kind of working through some of the initial thoughts for today. Defensive tackles, interior guys. Felt like it's a little bit of a smaller group, but very quick. I feel like when we saw them in one-on-one situations, there were a lot of really nice things to take a look at. Defensive end-wise, I was very, very happy with some of the body types that we have here and some of the performances that we had overall. I think Chris Rice, Castleton, who I didn't know a ton about, has a really nice body to work with. Eric Hanson was an ultra-productive player out of Upper Iowa. I feel like he had a couple of really nice reps. I think his nuance from his hand usage really stands out. Vaughn Taylor, who's been a standout player of Moorhead State over the last couple of years. I believe he led FCS in tackles for loss this year. And I think the relentless motor that he has, he's got some tools in the toolbox to work with. So really excited to watch him. Justin Growl, I think is how you pronounce it, out of Eastern Illinois. He was a Lake Erie All-American, moved to Eastern Illinois. He actually came in a little smaller, at least weight-wise, than I originally anticipated. But he looked good. I thought he looked really flexible, understood how to attack outside track and really work inside counters. Did a lot of really nice things working both as an inside and outside track winner, in my opinion. And moving on. Actually, Zach Steinlin, I believe is how you pronounce it. Defensive end out of Central Washington. We're talking about traits. This kid has some traits: long arms, long frame, developmental potential. I think he came in at 266 pounds at his 6'5" plus, but I think that he could even add some higher weight, which is very interesting for the next level. Linebackers want to hit on group I didn't see a ton of. I would say that there's a couple conversion guys that I think are interesting into that department. Kelvin Apari, who is out of Central Connecticut, originally a Harvard defensive end, outside linebacker. He's done a little bit of everything over the course of his career, but I think he has a conversion guy potentially more as a pass rusher this past year, Central Connecticut. I think that there's something to work with there. Interesting football player. I think for the most part, these guys move well in space. Again, a little bit of a smaller group. No pun intended on the small college showcase, but we're talking mostly 218 to 225 pound off-ball linebackers for the most part, but I think they moved relatively well in space. So interesting group. And then the last one was the defensive backs. Really liked what I saw out of Andrew Whitaker, to be honest with you, to you. And I think that's probably one of my favorite players that I've seen over just kind of this process of selecting rosters. Grady Daniels out of Lindenwood. I thought he did a really nice job, both working from the roof, working some man-to-man opportunities, and he's got a big frame. He had like 300 plus tackles over the last 3 seasons that he played. So obviously a very productive football player, and one that I'm willing to interested, I should say, into seeing how he develops from here. So that was kind of just a quick rundown. I know over the next few days we're going to have more and more players on. We're going to have more and more conversations about who impressed us. It's only the first day in pads for the Marshals. So I'm going to try to jump back on tomorrow for another reaction from the scrimmage. Maybe I'll do a little bit of live tweeting, maybe I'll jump on Spaces for a little bit during the practice to kind of just get some real reactions in right time. But thank you all for joining us so much. And as always, keep it locked to College Gridiron Showcase.